Okay, we're going to start with the nation. You remain sore losers, federal government tells PDP and LP. Sudan evacuation, 37 Nigerians stranded at border. CBN, more new votes to be in circulation, new notes to be in circulation soon. Why census was shifted by NPC. Oil price fluctuation threatens budget implementation. Workers are engine room of growth, says Lawan. Ohanes, the leader Nwanya, will ask Buhari to free Kano before May 29th. Rivers first to host Tinubu, says Wike. 3 Abuad students for UK exchange program. An APC advisor recommends Lukman's expulsion. Okay?
Yeah, I'll start with Senate President Ahmed Lawan and the House of Rep Speaker Femi Babafemi yesterday hailed the contributions of Nigerian workers to national development. The Lawan described workers as the engine room of the economy. He said that that's through his media aid. He says that the National Assembly, under his leadership, has enacted labor-friendly laws, and also the federal government must always pay serious attention to labor-related matters. I would like to read part of his statement. He says, throughout our history as a nation, the great Nigerian workers have been remarkable for their patriotism, commitment to nation building, and resilience in the face of serious development challenges. They've contributed to finding solutions to challenges and support the efforts of government targeted at meeting the yearnings of the populace. And, you know, goes on and just, you know, praising them and saying, and he finally says, labor creates wealth, remains, that's the dictum that labor creates wealth, remains as valid today as it has ever been. And he says the Ninth National Assembly has guarded itself against introduction of any anti-labor legislation since its inception in 2019. I like days like this because on those days you just tell each other half the truth, which is, you know, we know that they are always fighting. But today they are celebrating. We had Femi Babafemi to also made his own statement to just extolling the virtues of labor, and then we had other people as well. Okay, I was going to take the major headline. So the federal government tells PDP and LP that they remain sore losers, according to the Honorable Minister of Culture and Information, that's Isah Muhammed, was saying yesterday what he described them as, both parties saying that their delusions and irritating complaints about the 2023 general elections are completely irrational. He urged them to brace the reality of the electoral losses, which were due to their overconfidence and complacency. However, trust LP to quickly have responded. LP said that the election was not credible, and PDP also said that they insist that Atiku Abubakar won the elections. But the federal government is insisting that the president, in fact, deserves accolades for delivering the best election in Nigeria's history, adding that the tempestuous and predictable reaction to this comment by the opposition leaders just shows that they are shameful and sore losers, or shameless and sore losers. Right.
So the Central Bank of Nigeria yesterday said that the redesigned Naira notes will be in circulation soon. This was a statement by the Director of Corporate Communications, Isah Muhammed, and it says the CBN is taking delivery of a good quantity of redesigned banknotes from the Nigerian Security Printing and Minting Company Limited. He also debunked insinuations that the old notes were to be phased out, that the new notes were to be phased out. So according to the statement, it says the redesigned and old notes will continue to be accepted as legal tender. They will circulate side by side for transactions ahead of December 31st that they had mentioned, when the old notes, that's the 1,000 naira, 500 and 200 naira, will eventually be phased out of circulation. And so everybody should disregard the rumors, because this rumor started when some bankers, some customers realized that they have not been getting the new notes, you know, given to them. And so they were speculating, yes, that maybe they want to phase out the new notes. But CBN is saying no, it's going to be together. We're trying to print more new notes and put in circulation.
Right. So I want to take the story from the new President General of the Ohanese. He's an elder statesman, Chief Elder statesman Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu. He was ratified the new President General in the presence of a few governors represented by the deputy governors, as well as a few governors elects. And one of the major agenda in his speech was that he was urging the president within this administration to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. According to him, he said that based on the fact that the case in the court had already freed Nnamdi Kanu, he feels like it's important that Nnamdi Kanu is discharged, and it will bring joy to many people of Igbo people. He also mentioned that he feels that any conversation you want to have about around uniting the country would be better if you've already released this man according to the law. He also mentioned that all the several conferences we've had in Nigeria has always recommended that the Southeast should have 6 states, which means 1 more state, and that is one of the things he's going to pursue that within his tenure there will be 1 more state added to the Southeastern states, as well as peace within the region and growth economically within the region as well. Electricity, power generation, health, agriculture, industrialization on a bigger scale within the Southeastern region. That's his agenda as the President General of the Izindigbo.
8 years scorecard. Workers lament hardship, score Buhari governor's law on welfare. 2 suspects caught concealing cannabis in Garri sack. Opposition's rigging claim fraudulent, says federal government. CBN supplies more new Naira notes to banks. Unsold goods stock rises by 52%. Don't attack embassy staff. Ambassador warns stranded Nigerian students. And FG dumps 5% telecoms tax waiver. Okay, which story are we starting with?
The major headline.
Please.
So we need today, President Muhammadu Buhari is marking his last day, May Day, in office today. And the labor unions are scoring his administration very low, saying that he made a lot of Nigerian workers poor and inflicted hardship on Nigerians. So they went ahead to list some of the things, saying that the galloping inflation in the country has already eroded the 40% increment that was recently approved for federal government workers with effect from January. It said, you know, the Consumer Price Index reported by the National Bureau of Statistics in March 2023 indicated that Nigeria's inflation rate accelerated to a new 17-year high of 22.04%, and also that it rates globally and the 7th highest, the highest inflation rates globally and the 7th highest in sub-Saharan Africa in 2022. They went ahead to explain that when the president took over in 2015, petrol was still sold at 87 naira per litre, but now it's presently dispensed at 196 and above per litre, even though that the administration kept paying the subsidies. It said cooking gas shot up to 822.16 kg from 256 kg in 8 years. Electricity tariffs were hiked to 68 per kilowatts per hour from 27.20 kilowatts per hour, and even at that, we still have a lot of power outages. So it was a list of all the things that they felt the federal government had done to inflict pains on Nigerians. They also blamed some governors, saying that the governors did not prioritize the welfare of their Nigerian workers. But there's hope that the new administration that will be getting into power will be able to do better. At least they have to look at the policies that has not worked. They talked about the new redesign of our currency policy that, you know, rendered us cashless, cash crunch and all that it didn't work. So they are hoping that the incoming administration will do better.
Okay.
Yeah, operatives of NDLEA have arrested 2 suspects for concealing cannabis in a bag of Garri. Further in the report, they say concealing it in Garri flakes. In cassava flakes? Why do we call Garri cassava flakes? Because they're not flakes, really, you know. But anyways, they arrested Kabiru Muhammed, 35, yeah, something like that, and Isah Muhammed, 28, were arrested with 20 blocks of cannabis weighing 11.2 kg concealed in Garri along the Zaria-Kano Road, Kano, that's Friday, April 28th. Then no fewer than 7 bags of cannabis with gross weight of 74.5 kg were recovered when operatives raided an incomplete building located in the bush in Alatown, Akure area of Ondo State. This is just widespread, different parts of the country. There's a 60 kg of the same substance that was concealed among footwear in 2 jumbo sacks, recovered from one Aminu Muhammad along Ibadan-Oyo Road, while waiting to board a vehicle to Kebbi State. 126 parcels of Canadian loud, a synthetic strain of cannabis weighing 63 kg, concealed in a used Toyota Corolla car imported from Toronto, Canada, at the Tinkan Airport, and so on and so forth. But thank you, NDLEA, for working hard.
Fantastic. So I have a report here from the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. It's quite extensive. I can't take in all the details, but the crux of it is that they have recorded 52% increase in unsold finished products. According to them, even though they were unable to meet production levels, the ones they even produced couldn't be sold because of various factors, some of which include, let me get the details here. Well, there was quite a bit, I now lost it, but the high inventory recorded in the period attributed to low purchasing power in the economy due to the declining real income of households, followed by the continuous increase in inflation, and also the Naira redesign policy, which we had to deal with between last year, December. They said that production activities were reduced because of the environmental factors for companies, forex, power issues, so on and so forth. All this cut down production. Even with that, they were unable to sell off what was produced, and that was a problem for the manufacturing organization. As I said, it's quite detailed here, but just to give you an update on the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria.
So let me take the story about the federal government. Last year, the Minister for Finance, Budget and Planning, Isah Muhammed, had announced there was going to be excise 5% tax on telecommunications as well as in the other sectors of the economy. And Isah Muhammed, the Minister for ICT, had already said that the telecoms has contributed immensely to the Nigerian government. According to him, it is actually the backbone of the Nigerian economy in both areas of its contribution to the GDP and tax collection by the FIRS. And he said that between August to September 2022, the taxes had increased from 39% to 41%. A lot more taxes. There are multiple taxes from the states to the federal government or the ICT sector, and that this 5% excise tax would be shrinking the achievements of the telecom sector. It said that most of the time, governments implement excise tax on like tobacco, drinks, things that the government wants to reduce consumption on, not areas that you know that Nigerians have become dependent on. So this article is actually the Minister for ICT complaining that the implementation of this new tax would not work. And of course, the federal government is trying to raise funds, so they've decided to place it even on the telecoms. They had suspended it before last year, but they will start implementing it from this year. Okay.
Daily Sun, very quickly, you lost woefully. FG tells LP and PDP. Southeast group clamors for Senate President backs Kalu. Labour rejects planned privatization of NIPOS, TCN, and other federal medical centers. Adamawa Guba, why I declared Benani winner. Yunusa Ari State Rec. Oh, really? Spoke. FG accuses El Rufai of placing Unity School students' lives in harm's way. Lagos explains demolition of buildings in Ajawa Estate. Anxiety in Kano over planned review of Sanusi's deposition. Okay.
I know everyone's waiting for this story. So remember the suspended resident electoral commissioner for Adamawa State, Yunusa Ari, has said he announced the results of 69 polling units April 15th supplementary election due to security pressure.
Wow.
He said that, he said the rec had we remember he snuck into the collation center 2 hours before the scheduled time for the resumption of collation and then declared her winner. And he had written a letter to the IGP explaining his part in the controversial announcement. He said that he acted within the ambit of the law to avert impending danger associated with any delay in announcing the result. He claimed he realized that the result brought by the presiding officers from the 69 polling units, which he did not sign, differed from what was uploaded on the INEC results, that's IREF portal. He also alleged attempts to replace him as collation officer with the administrative secretary, threats to cause mayhem, commissioners appointing illegal collation officers, and his house being surrounded by police from government house as some of the risks he faced during the poll. So based on all this, he compiled all the polling units results and declared Binani winner And that's his explanation. That's where it stops.
I guess we'll leave it to the IGP.
We will hear, we know that police is investigating, we'll hear what the courts say. And
Okay.
So the state government, in a video being circulated by Lagos State Building Control Agency, LASCA, disclosed that 12 buildings were marked in the area for demolition for non-compliance with the law. He said the affected buildings were erected by their owners without obtaining construction approvals from the federal government through the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, FAN, and the state government. Now, aside from not obtaining that approval, the affected structures were said to have been built by their owners on pipelines channeled to transport aviation fuel to the airport. That's the Isah Muhammed airport in Ikeja. And so the building had to be pulled down. They said they've been talking about this since 2016. They had presented and told the people to evacuate that building, that it was illegal, but the owners of the building refused to adhere to it, and that's why it's being pulled down now, that they cannot take the risk of having such buildings around the airport area. They are in dangerous zones, and no state will allow a lot of people to die if anything happens there.
Discuss later as our hot topic. Let me just take the TUC president, Festus Osifo, has told federal government that they should dare not try to privatize that's the Federal Medical Center, that's the FMCs, NIPOS, or the TCN, that's the Transmission Company of Nigeria. Now, this is the debate that's been going on of, do we privatize these major agencies? Many people have complained, especially for power, that those transmitting, that government has no business in business, that these are agencies that could be privatized to make it more effective. The debates have been ongoing, but the TUC president said it is a no-no. We need to reiterate. Let me say his exact word. We wish to reiterate there is a no-no to privatization of the federal government centers. That for us, it is something that we will not tolerate, because all the privatization that has been done in the past, we've not seen any benefits from it. Saying that in similar breath, they will say no to the privatization of also NIPOS and other major agencies. So this is an ongoing debate, because many people always say that when you privatize, it's supposed to get better to better hands. But some will argue that power was partly privatized, and yet we haven't really seen power. So there are various factors.
There's telecommunications. People would say it's better.
Exactly. So it depends on what lens you're looking at it from.
It's
a continuous debate.
So the federal government has accused El-Rufai, that's the governor of Kaduna State, of placing the Unity School students' life in harm's way. Apparently, there's been a case of land redelineation. So the school is the federal government college. I want to get the Federal Government College Malali, and that is putting the lives of students within that school in harm's way, because the government pulled down the fence, because the state government is claiming that there's a part of the land that was fenced into the land that doesn't belong to the school. And so the federal government has said that if you pull down the fence, this would open the school, students and staff to the threats of any harm coming to them. The state government is trying to put another fence that comes within the area, and a case had been sent to court, perpetual injunction against them. The principal got a letter from the Kaduna State governor saying that from the State Urban Regional Development Authority that they are going to be making a move on that portion of the land. So it's now a case of, when will the court say they should not move, or will El-Rufai finish his move before the courts even set
either way,
a
they can restore it. That's if that you should move it. If the courts say so, thank God for the courts. The courts will then eventually let us know.
Thankfully, the students have police presence on ground. The IGP has already sent police to the place to protect them while they are back in school.
That's a good increase. Vanguard, our last paper for today. Let's find a story we've not taken. May Day, it's been terrible, agonizing for workers, says NLC. Sudan, 637 students arrive at Egypt's border. OPS urges federal government to suspend proposed new taxes. Excuse me. 17 buildings marked for demolition in Anambra for harboring gunmen. No plans to phase out redesigned Naira notes. Southeast governors, Igbo leaders inaugurate Nwanyawu as new Ohaneze President General. And Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, FG apologizes over failure to meet deadline. I think we're taking most of the stories.
Yeah, aside from Sudan.
Okay.
Yeah, so Ministries of Foreign Affairs and that of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development has confirmed that the first batch of 13 buses conveying 637 stranded Nigerian students have arrived at Aswan borders, Egypt, safely. It also says that the necessary documentation and clearance before admission into Egypt territory for their eventual evacuation to Nigeria are in progress. They're trying to sort that out. And he went ahead to advise that there's this rumor that students are trying to attack the embassy staff, and he's saying that nobody should attack them. They are going to be on ground in Khartoum to make sure that everybody is evacuated before they leave. And so when they're coming for, they should make sure that they get to the designated area on time and come with only one box so that the movement is seamless for them, basically.
Okay, I was going to just rush down the 17 buildings marked for demolition in Anambra. So these 17 buildings are marked for demolition in Uli community in Ihiala local government area of Anambra State. Also, the police have actually gone into these various communities, heavy deployment of officers and men to pull down the stronghold of indigenous people of Biafra, that's IPOB in Anambra State. According to them, the Imo Police Command has also confirmed the arrest of 9 suspected members of IPOB and 1 sector commander of the militia arm, that's the Eastern Security Network, and the Matthew Chukuma, 48 of Mpam Ahiazu. Mba is a local government area. So they are really trying to weaken the stronghold of IPOB in these communities, but we'll see how that goes in the coming weeks.
Where you just murdered these people. Touched my heart.
Sorry about that.
Please, Lagosians have been suffering under hellish traffic condition on the way outside Lagos, and we were all waiting for the April 30th that they were going to finish the road, but the Minister for Works and Housing, Babatunde Raji-Fashola, represented by his Special Advisor on Communication, Akim Bello, said that they are sadly not able to meet up with the April 30th, that there were other things happening between Kara, construction work that has delayed the process of work, but that they would continue the work between, they said, all that will be left is between Otedola Bridge and Bega, but they did not give us a date anymore. So.
But, Auntie, some parts of it have been loosened up. That's why you're able to get to work today on time. Compared to last time, we're all rushing, but at least we'll see.
No, it's Friday.
Wait
now.
Wait
after
till
Friday.
Friday. Friday.
So after the show, we'll go to the Express to see what is clear.
No,
let's just wait till Friday.
Friday is the day that people leave. We now see how congested it is. Okay, so, but I tried to send a message to Engineer Kuti. He said, don't worry, you're not giving me a story. I said,
you not give us the timeline, though. Well, I was reading to Zero, they'll say 1 week or 2 weeks, no timeline.
Just 29th, so we
are leaving my house 5 a.m. on Friday.
Okay, that is all we can take on this morning's front page review.